Hello and welcome to Mumu Industries. My name is Scott Davis. I'll be briefing you on your assignment to the land of opportunity, Indonesia. Currently, Australian expatriates are flooding out of traditional destinations like the UK and Europe to more lucrative destinations in Southeast Asia, such as Indonesia, where nearly 1/4 of expatriates earn above $250,000 US, the world's biggest survey of expatriates has found. A mix of career, financial and lifestyle benefits appear to be the drawcard for Australian expats entering Asian markets. These drawcards are great on a personal level for you, however Indonesia is also on the radar of some of the world's leading companies and presents great opportunity for our company. With this in mind, what I'm going to do is brief you on the opportunities that exist for the Indonesian population. Why I'm going to do this is so that you can put our company, Mumu Industries, in a strong position to leverage these opportunities when you arrive. How I'll do this is by covering three main areas. Firstly, the opportunity that globalization creates. Secondly, how globalization is leading to empowering the people. And thirdly, we'll cover the future opportunities for Indonesia's emerging economy. The outcome for you at the end of this briefing will be that you'll appreciate and understand the opportunity that exists to grow our company while also contributing to the population of Indonesia. Firstly, let's look at the globalization opportunity. What is globalization? The Oxford Dictionary, the most trusted dictionary in the world, defines globalization as the process by which business or other organizations develop international influence or start operating on an international scale. As you can appreciate, with Mumu Industries expanding operations into Indonesia, we fall within this definition, and hence having a greater understanding of the opportunities that exist in a globalized world and the opportunities that it has for the poor in Indonesia is vitally important to the future of our company. Globalization is not new. The process that led to more interconnected and interdependent world were experienced as far back as the 13th century with Marco Polo opening up trade routes in spices and Christopher Columbus in tobacco. Recently, globalization has been facilitated by technological advances such as the internet, satellite telephones and television, have contributed to speeding up and expanding global communications and leading to the cross-fertilization of cultures, including a dramatic reduction in cost. In 1960, a 3-minute call from New York to London cost $60.42. In 2000, it cost 40 cents. Globalization and the concerns about poverty and inequality have become a focus of discussion in a way that few other topics have, except for possibly international terrorism and global warming. Most people I know have a strong opinion on globalization, and all of them express an interest in the well-being of the world's poor. The financial press and influential international officials confidently assert that global free markets expand the horizons for the poor, whereas activist protesters hold the opposite belief with equal intensity. Understanding and planning for globalization is important for Mumu Industries, as globalization is changing the way the world does business. Moving on to empowering the population opportunity. Anti-globalizers' claim is that globalization is exploiting the population, making the rich richer and the poor poorer. Reports of poor working conditions, human rights issues and labour abuse, including a minimum daily wage that only covers 70% of basic needs. Pro-globalizers assert that globalization is empowering the population than it actually helps the poor. But if one looks at the factual evidence, the matter is rather more complicated. On the basis of household survey data collected by different agencies, the World Bank estimates the fraction of the population in developing countries that falls below the $1 a day poverty line at admittedly crude but internationally comparable level. By this measure, extreme poverty is declining. The trend is particularly pronounced in East, South and Southeast Asia. Poverty has declined sharply in Indonesia, a country that has long been characterized by massive rural poverty. Between 1981 and 2001, the percentage of rural people living on less than $1 a day decreased from 55% to 11% in Indonesia. But although the poorest are not, on the whole, getting poorer, no one has yet convincingly demonstrated that improvements in their conditions are mainly the result of globalization in Indonesia. In Indonesia, the Green Revolution, macroeconomic policies, stabilization of rice prices, and massive investment in rural infrastructure played a substantial role in the large reduction of rural poverty. Of course, globalization by expanding employment in labor-intensive manufacturing has helped pull many Indonesians out of poverty since the mid-1980s. It is important to understand that the opportunities are evident, however, equally important to understand that our local brand can also be impacted by our actions in Indonesia, which is why it will be important to ensure we are acting in favour of the Indonesian population. Now let's look at emerging economy opportunities, how the emerging economy is likely to impact on the opportunities for Indonesia. Indonesia is a country of 241 million people. It is the fourth most populous country in the world, with a gross domestic product now nearing $1 trillion US, growing at a rate of 6% per annum. Indonesia is the 16th largest economy in the world. Some of the challenges and opportunities Indonesia and its people are likely to face over the next decade include depletion of energy resources, population explosion, weak governance, inefficiency and corruption, and structural imbalance of the Indonesian economy. If we look at the population explosion, according to Indonesia's Bureau of Statistics, every year it is growing at a pace of 1.6%. To put this into context, every 10 years there comes into existence an entity of Indonesians about 6 times the size of Singapore's population. In the next 20 years, Indonesia will have 76 million new mouths to feed. There will be the challenge of providing housing, clinics, hospitals, and most important of all, jobs and food. If the nation cannot manage to control the growth of its population through family planning programs, the gap between the number of people to feed and the amount of food it can produce will increase. History teaches us that the food crisis can lead to instability, upheaval, and disintegration. With Mumu moving into Indonesia, we are providing the population with an opportunity for employment, which helps relieve some of the future burden of this country. Of interest to you and something you may wish to consider is your recruiting strategy. To the world, Indonesia is positioning itself as a vibrant, capable power, ready to take its legitimate place as a leading economic power. Yet to the foreign policy of its nearest neighbour, Australia, remains stuck in decades-old rhetoric and unilateral policy on issues such as asylum seekers, the cattle trade, and even aid. This characteristic fails to recognise that Indonesia is Southeast Asia's largest economy and in the coming years will wield considerably more political and economic clout than Australia. Over 2 5-year terms, the President has made a great diplomatic stride to position Indonesia as a significant global player with a key role in securing regional stability. If the Australian government is serious about positioning Indonesia as an anchor for Australia's foreign policy in the region, the government should begin by paying attention to how much Indonesia has changed and how little it really needs Australia. Understanding and planning for Indonesia's future opportunity is important to Mumu Industries as Indonesia is positioning itself to be a significant global player. In summary, Indonesia is the land of opportunity. Half of Indonesia's population is under the age of 30. After 4 decades of authoritarian rule, this generation will have the momentous task of consolidating Indonesia's young democracy, a considerable undertaking encompassing 250 million people sprawled across the world's largest archipelagic state. Mumu Industries is looking to position ourselves in a position to leverage this opportunity while also contributing to the emergence of the Indonesian population and the economy. To do this, it will be important to realise the opportunity that exists within the 3 areas that we have covered. The globalisation opportunity is changing the world, technology is speeding this up, and expanding the horizons of the poor. The opportunity to further empower the population, to help reduce the number living below the poverty line, to contribute to the large population having increasing wages, and the emerging economy opportunity on the back of Indonesia's high aspiration, the predicted population explosion, and we will likely see the Australian government improve policies between the 2 countries. I hope that this briefing will assist you in your position with Mumu Industries in Indonesia. Again, welcome to the company. I wish you the best of luck.